Two-dimensional vector and three-dimensional. A two-dimensional vector is often referred to as a plane vector. Now, in the case of this vector, we will get to know what is called a position vector. What is a position vector? A position vector is a vector with its base at the origin 0, 0, and its tip at a certain point, x, y. To have a clearer picture of the position vector, you can observe the following Cartesian coordinates. From the Cartesian coordinates above, we can obtain the information that from point A, move left for 9 units, then go up for 5 units. Now, if we draw a line from point 0, 0, to point A, it becomes. Well, is that correct? So, we can conclude that the position vector OB subtracted by the vector OA will result in the vector AB. Determine the notation and vector quantities in 2 dimensions on the previous page. Vector component along the x-axis equals -4. Vector component along the y-axis equals 3. Next, we look for vector notation. Finally, we find the vector magnitude. So, the notation and vector quantities in 2 dimensions are a 3-dimensional vector or a vector in space. Actually, a 3-dimensional vector isn't much different from a 2-dimensional vector. The difference is that there are 3 coordinates on the Cartesian plane, namely x, y, and z. How do you determine the length of a vector or magnitude of a vector? Just like in 2-dimensional vectors, you can use the Pythagorean theorem. So, the calculation is more or less the same as in the case of plane vectors, except that there is the addition of the z-point in the vector in space. That's all for my explanation. I conclude. Thank you. Two-dimensional vector